Where's that mark?
Oh, it's freezing in there.
It's supposed to be.
Oh, I don't think we can interview in there.
No, I
Let's
don't
try to
think so.
take an interview right here.
Okay, all right.
We're on the Where's Mark segment from Ellendale, Minnesota, at a wonderful place called Steve's Meats. And this is the owner of Steve's Meats, and would you introduce yourself to the people?
Okay, my name is Donovan Aker. My husband and I started the meat market in January of 1973. He's no longer here, but I and my daughter Rachel run the market.
And how old is your daughter?
Is he 42?
42.
Yeah, 42.
And you guys have been running this ever since the 70s.
Yes, early 70s. In fact, Rachel was not born yet when we bought the market. Our oldest daughter was born, and we were both very young. Moved down here with a little baby and started taking over the operation, and it just grew and grew. And
where did you move from?
Steve and I are both originally from Blooming Prairie.
Blooming Prairie residents. And you know, my wife and I just relocated to Blooming Prairie. We just bought a house there.
Yeah.
And when we came here, I came first about 6 months ago to scout out the prairie and try to hack out a little bit of homesteading, things like this. And everybody told me, they said, whatever you do, you have to go and buy something from Steve's Meats. And I saw this great big billboard up on Highway 35, Steve's Meats, and I hear this and I hear that. And then I hear a lot of rumors about this has changed hands so many times and it's been sold. And do you know what? We're gonna dispel some myths here today, and we're gonna talk about this great little place that we found. And my wife can't leave here without coming home with a bag of groceries every time now. And so how did you, or why did you get into this business?
Well, both Steve and I grew up in the Blooming Prairie area. He graduated in 1968 from Blooming. I graduated from Claremont in 68. He went to vocational school in Pipestone for meat cutting. I went to beauty school, got married, moved up to the Twin Cities, lived there for 3 years. And one weekend we were home, and his mom just said, there's a little meat market for sale over in Ellendale. You should check it out. Well, we did. 3-4 months later, we moved out of the Twin Cities, and we were down here. We bought it in January, the end of January 1973. We were 22 years old.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So they say. Your husband Steve, his credentials, I could talk for an hour and not get to the end of those. He was a very smart man as far as agriculture and all the things he did in his community and how he reached out and educated farmers and taught on consumers and sausage making and gave classes. And where did he learn all this information?
Well, his start was Pipestone Vocational for meat cutting. And when he was very young, he went with his grandpa to do the neighborhood butchering in the spring and the fall. Well, then by the time he was 13 years old, he was doing the butchering himself because his grandpa, his diabetes was so bad. So Steve was the neighborhood butcher. And then when he went into meat judging through the Blooming Prairie FFA, went to state, went to national, and then when he graduated from high school, he went to Pipestone, got a job up in the Twin Cities in Kroger Foods, which then eventually was sold to Piggly Wiggly. And at that time, he was the youngest journeyman meat cutter in the United States when he got his journeyman's license. And then we had our first baby, and we just decided, you know what, we didn't want to raise our kids in the Twin Cities. So when this opportunity came, we were very young, very naive, didn't know any better. And
because opening a business like this, Donovan, it's not just cutting meat. It's business aspect and stocking and restocking and keeping your circulation of your foods. And how did you get to know all that stuff?
Trial and error. When we first took over, this was a grocery store and small meat market. They did custom processing for the farmers. The only thing that they made in the block smokehouse that was in the back was hams, bacon, and dried beef. The first 6 months, my husband just cleaned. He cleaned. It was in desperate need of being cleaned, and I was home with the little one. He was cleaning, and we grew our business and grew our business, and then in the late 80s, we saw the changes in agriculture, smaller families, the women were going to work in town, fewer farmers that had livestock. So at that time we were realizing, okay, what can we do to enhance our products and get our products out beyond our walls? Because at that time we were state inspected and you could not sell your products beyond your walls, except unless you were USDA inspected.
Beyond the region of the town of Ellendale?
Beyond our walls. We could not sell to another place for them to sell.
I see.
We had to sell it directly to the consumer.
Okay.
We could not sell it to a distributor and then they sell it. That's when we went under USDA inspection. We expanded our whole business. We eventually bought 3 more lots to the west of us and went under USDA inspection, which is very, very expensive, and it's a whole different world. And within 3 months of us getting our inspection, USDA inspection approval, we had larger companies coming to us and saying, we want your product. So then we'd say, well, do you want our label or do you want your label? Because it didn't matter to us.
Sure.
Because no matter what, as long as they pay the bill.
Right.
And our product, we knew what our product was. We knew who was making it. So at that time, Lunds and Byerly's in the Twin Cities took on our product line, and we have had our products, their label, our products in their stores since 1993.
And they're still in their stores today? Are there any other bigger conglomerates that buy your products besides them?
Those are our biggest. They have 26 stores
I see.
in the Twin Cities, and they are the cream of the crop in the Twin Cities.
I see.
Their product line is second to none. And an industry standard says if you are on a shelf in a grocery store more than 5 years, you're doing well. We've surpassed 23 years now. So, and they have, every week, they have somebody come in and tell them, we can make it cheaper, we can make it cheaper, and they said, they don't care. They don't care. They want Steve's products. For many years, they didn't want anyone to know that we were making the products for them. Well, about the last 8 years, it's been locally produced, and they are proud to tell people. You go down to southern Minnesota, you stop in at Steve's Market in Ellendale. They got the same thing, but they got a whole bunch more because they don't carry all of our products. We make over 230 different products.
So you make sausage for them, you process cheese for them, things like
cheese.
that, or
no cheese.
No cheese.
Just anything that's further processed meats and sausages. We make, their summer sausages. We make their link products. We make their smoked turkeys. We make their their snack sticks.
They're like the cheddar sticks?
The cheddar sticks, the pepper jack sticks, the teriyaki sticks, all of the snack sticks. We also make their uncured bacon, which is a big mover.
Sure.
We make quite a few products, and well, just today there was 620 cases that went out, and that's a weekly.
How many people do you employ here then?
I think right now we have 19 full and part-time.
19 full and part-time. How many are actual butchers that are on staff here?
I got 2 butchers, but Rachel is the sausage maker.
She is?
She is the sausage maker.
I see.
She makes the sausages. She mixes it. She grinds it. She stuffs it. She hangs it. She smokes it. She supervises everything. There isn't a piece of meat that goes out of here that she has not had her hand on.
Now that brings me back to my roots in Wisconsin.
Okay.
My grandfather was like Ernest Hemingway, and he had us out either fishing or hunting every weekend. And we'd smoke our own salmon. He bought an old refrigerator and fixed it up so it would be a smoker, and we'd smoke our salmon. Then he got into canning our salmon. But every year after deer season, we'd always make our own venison sausage. And he'd bring in 50 pounds of, his mixture was 50 pounds of pork and 50 pounds of venison, and mix that together. And oh, when you talk about sausage making, and I see the old sausage grinder up there, I'm thinking that's the way we did it. You know, it was all hand ground sausage. Now it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Oh, it's totally different, totally different. And we used to take whole deer. We used to do the whole deer carcass, bring their carcasses in, and we'd make everything for them. But after Steve passed away, I just said, no, we'll take trim only. And it's worked out really well because...
Well, when you say trim only, what do you mean by that?
They have to trim out that animal. They cannot bring it in carcass. It has to be deboned. And so then we take the deboned meat and we can make most of everything that we make out here. We use the same recipes, only we use 3/4 venison to 1/4 beef and pork.
Sure. So they used to bring in the whole carcass, so you guys had to skin it and bone cut it and clean it, and oh, that was the worst. I can remember hanging those things in the middle milk shed and having to skin those things in the milk shed.
And cold.
And cold, yes, cold, and then getting those saws to cut through there. And but I'll tell you what, after a day of labor on that venison tasted pretty good at the end of the day. So you take trim now, and I saw a sign up that said roadkill. You don't really take roadkill.
No. That's a sign I saw. I found it was Steve's Roadkill, and it had, the only reason I got it was because it said Steve's. I like to find stuff that could correspond with what we do here. I got that I love bacon signs. I got all kinds of those around here. And anything that has to do with meat and or sausage products, I get it and I bring it in, put it on the walls because our customers enjoy looking at that stuff.
That was part of the fun of walking in here for the first time, is just looking at your walls. And looking at, I think that's an old snow shovel, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
A wooden snow shovel. I haven't seen that in since way back, and I'm pretty old, but I can remember those, and the old sausage grinder that you have up there. And it's just wonderful. It's like stepping back in time when I'm looking in your shop here at all the wonderful things.
We did some remodeling to the front of the store this last year, and I had to take down a whole bunch of stuff, and I haven't even got, there's over probably about 60 plaques that I haven't been able to get back up there. But me being a short person, I need a tall ladder and more time, but I haven't got all the stuff back up on the walls, but people enjoy coming in. And I've even had people bring stuff in and say, I thought you'd enjoy this. And I put it up and they enjoy coming back in and, oh, there's the thing I gave her. There's the thing I gave her. And we like to have that warm home family feeling.
And you'll find that here, Steve, that warm home family feeling, except if you step into the freezer.
It's cold.
It's cold back in there. I was banging on that door to get out of that thing.
It has to be cold in there.
Oh, I guess it does. But everything here, you've got everything. It's not just meat and sausage and fresh meat. You've got cookbooks, you've got meat rubs, you've got pretzels, you've got snacks.
We got crackers, we got all kinds of barbecue sauces, all kinds of barbecue.
If the apocalypse hits, come here. You could survive in this place.
We got. I try to carry stuff that they can't get everywhere else, and they get to come back and visit us.
Sure. Your selection of cheeses. I haven't seen a selection of cheeses in a small town like this.
And we move them.
And how many? Do you know how many do you have?
Oh, I would say probably over 100 different kinds of cheeses. We even have chocolate cheese. Did you see that?
Yes, and the blueberry cheese. That's off of Wisconsin.
We have a cranberry cheese. We have the old standbys like Munster and beer cheese, and the cheddars and the Colby and the Kojaks, and we have a lot of pepper cheeses, a lot of smoked cheeses. And
now, are they all domestic, or are there any imported cheeses?
I don't carry very many imported cheeses. I like when you go in the metro, you find that stuff.
Yeah.
But our people, they like the stuff that just tastes good.
The homemade American cheese.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, being from Wisconsin, I even wear cheese on my head sometimes, but it's not the real stuff.
No, I know, I've seen those. Yeah, but, people will ask us, well, don't you have any Minnesota cheeses? You know what, you can't be a Wisconsin cheese. You can be a Wisconsin sausage, but you can't be a Wisconsin cheese.
Yeah, and of course, you didn't taste my grandpa's sausage, but it was pretty darn good.
Probably. Did he ever make cranberry sausage?
No, never did that. But he made the blood sausage.
Okay.
And he did make the venison sausage, and then he made the beef and pork sausage.
Okay.
And we make our own brats and things like that too.
Yeah.
So.
But we make like a cranberry sausage. We make a blueberry sausage. We make a blueberry cranberry combination.
Oh my.
My husband was the first meat sausage maker in the United States to have a value-added sausage product, and that was wild rice. He put wild rice into sausage.
And you know what that reminds me of? It was a dish that my grandmother used to make in Yugoslavia, and they're called sadama, where they had the ground beef and the rice mixed together inside of the grape leaves or inside of the cabbage leaves. So she had that. So when you say this rice is in the sausage, boy, that's making my mouth water right now. I'm going to need a napkin before we're done here.
Well, and he was the first one to put cheese in the sausage. I mean, we know what the combination of cheese and sausage together, not only the taste, but the marketing on that. We move so much. And when we order wild rice, I order 2,400 pounds at a time.
Because it goes that fast.
We need to have it because that's what we use. We use a lot of wild rice.
Now this must be a real busy time of year when they have the deer, the hunting season.
Very busy. It's also a very busy time for our custom processing. Custom processing is when the farmer brings in his beef and pork, and we slaughter it, and we cool it and cut it up, and it goes back to the farmer. But it's a very busy time for them too. They want to get all their stuff
obviously
done.
you have to process your deer in a different area when you process your beef.
Yep. Well,
and what about your beef and your pork? Can you process that in the same general area, or do you have to have different areas for that also?
Okay. Our plant is divided 3 ways. We have our retail, where we're sitting now. Over to the right of us, over here, is where the custom, and that's all what the farmers bring in, the farmer gets back. Then on the wholesale side, that's where all of the smoked sausages are made for what we sell wholesale, and that's all USDA inspected. Now when we do deer, the deer is after hours. When we do pork, beef is done at the beginning of the day, pork is done at the end of the day. You cannot have the commingle. They can be hanging in the coolers together, but they can't be cut at the same time. Same as when we're making sausage. We have to make anything that's an allergen, like cheeses, soy, because if we make teriyaki sticks, that has soy. If there's an allergen in a product, that has to be made after all of the other ones are made. You can't, because you have cross-contamination. Not cross-contamination, but you have commingling, and you cannot have that. You have to have that allergen done separately.
Know what they're doing. They absolutely know what they're doing. And you know that if you buy buy local, you know that it's good. You know that where it's coming from. You can come in and see their processing plants and see how they do their things here. I'm going to break away for a minute. I'm going to bring the camera in a little closer. I'm going to have you talk about your husband a little bit. And I know that's a kind of a sensitive subject, but I want to break in and kind of get you a little up close and personal here. All right. Obviously, the love of your life was Steve, and you two were sweethearts from high school.
High school, yes.
Tell me how you met.
We were both juniors in high school. He went to one high school, I went to another, and I went down one day and asked him if he wanted to go to prom with me. So we started dating. We were both farm kids. it was kind of interesting because I think his dad and my dad wanted us to get married and stay on the farm, and that's not what we wanted. He wanted to be a meat cutter.
Well, he turned out to be not only the love of your life, but an absolute meat genius.
He was.
And he turned you into a meat genius. And I think, from what I heard from doing my homework on you guys, he helped to educate you and make you better in some areas, but you also made him better in areas.
He always had a slogan, "I'll make it, honey, you sell it." And we would go to our first state convention we went to in '75, and from then on we went every year to the Minnesota Association of Meat Processors Convention, and then in '85 our first national convention was in Milwaukee, and that's where the American Association of Meat Processors convened every year in a different place, and he started going there and winning. He has won more awards than anyone else in the nation for national and state awards.
It's amazing because if I look on your walls here, the walls are just absolutely covered with awards and plaques. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this as far as his awards and his plaques, and what you guys have accomplished here is nothing less than a little miracle. What do you attribute your success to?
This is all we know. He learned so much from others, but he was never afraid to share what he knew. One year at the National Convention, there was a gentleman there, and Steve went up and asked him about, he was having problems with his ring bologna and that, and so Steve was asking him about, little tweaks and that, and the guy just said, "I do not share my secrets." And Steve kindly thanked him, walked away. The next year, the guy had died. And Steve just said, "I will never do that.
Yeah.
I will share."
Yeah. And the good thing about him, and from what I've heard, he was very, very teachable. He was always looking and always growing as far as being educating himself, not only educating others, but educating himself and learning, and never afraid to sit down, never too busy to sit down with a kid and teach a kid how to cut a piece of meat or to...
He, for years, many years, he did FFA meat judging. Had the kids come in at night, and he would show them, teach them, to get them ready to go to state and national contests. He did several times, many times, the University of Wisconsin, University of South Dakota, University of Iowa, University of Minnesota. In fact, in Wisconsin and South Dakota, they have scholarships given out every year in his name to this day.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the story I heard, that he was just, I don't care how busy the man was, he was never too busy for the kids.
No,
he was never too busy for his community.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's like, it makes me think twice about where I'm going to buy my meat from now on. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah. Well, we can still say, I guess, and one of the things, we were always family owned. We're still family owned, and it's, to me, that's the most important legacy.
Sure. What's the biggest challenge you've had, Donovan, being here in these last, 100 years that you guys have been here? It seems like 100 years probably, but what's your biggest challenge? What was the biggest challenge or the biggest setback that you had that made you just wonder what you were doing?
I can't think of any, other than when you get knocked down, you get up and go again.
And you've been knocked down a few times here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still standing. You're a survivor. And Steve's gone on to prepare a place someplace else, and I'm sure that you are going to see him again.
Oh, I will.
A good, solid man, a good community man, and they lost a lot here in the community when they lost Steve. But the fact is that your legacy continues. You're now his arms, and you're his voice, and you reach out. Now you're continuing. You're going to finish his work.
Well, one of the challenges that Rachel and I have seen, even though it's still a man's world in the industry, we can kick butt.
That a
And
girl.
That's just fine with me.
That a girl.
Yeah.
That a girl.
This is fine.
Not intimidated by some of the.
Well, I may be short. My dad always said, you know, Donovan, big surprises come in small packages. And I always think of that because even if, and I've got, sometimes over the years, I've had employees that they're looking down at me and I can still just, you know what, this is the way it is. And I look at it, I still can work hard. I'm not looking at retirement quite yet.
Was it ever an intimidating factor that you're here in Ellendale, kind of in the shadows of Hormel?
Oh, Steve would always say, well, we're a little Hormel. We're just a miniature Hormel. And it's just fine. You know, you don't have to be bigger to be better.
That's right. That's right.
You don't have to be bigger to be the best.
Yes. Now, there's some people that put out quantity rather than quality. There's some people that put out quality but not a lot of quantity. It seems like you guys have found the recipe to put out both.
We can put it out, and well, the one thing Steve always said, you can make a rotten product, but you better be consistent. He said, I don't want to do that. He'd
right.
always say, I want to make the best product and always be consistent.
That's right.
And he taught that to our daughter, and she is just adamant on every single thing she does. And there are so many times, every single day I can go back there and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's her dad. And that's okay. That's just good. That's fine.
That's right.
That's fine.
Now, is there a chance where we can walk back and take a look at the processing place?
Yes, but
Right.
if there's no cameras, can we do no cameras?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Because it's not good to have. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah, I understand. Now we're going to finish off with just my end segment here. And these will all be pieced together.
I don't know if you saw our video that was on last week with Uncle John's, or Farmer John's.
No, I
We
didn't.
did Farmer John's on
Okay.
video. The Where's Mark segment travels all over. We've done the Vikings ship that was built for the Vikings.
Sure.
And then we've done a lot of different things. We did a Prince Memorial, we did Shanghai and things like this. And so we want to reach out from Steele County Times to our community and make sure our community knows you're here to make you more visible. But it sounds like you guys are doing pretty well all on your own. And this has just been a very pleasurable Where's Mark segment. And I am absolutely been blessed by you today and by your shop. And I know my wife is, like I said, she can't come home without a bag of stuff from Steve's Meat Market. And that's the official name of it, Steve's Meat Market?
yes. Well, a little story behind our, when we went under USDA inspection, we felt we needed to have a name for our products besides Steve's Meat Market. So one night I was sitting at home, I was doodling, and our last name is E-A-K-E-R, but pronounced like an acre of land. So I was sitting there doodling, and I said, how about Smoky Acres? And he's, what's the matter? I don't think that would be too bad. And I said, well, we're not Smoky Mountains, we're not Smoky Hills, there are a lot of acres of corn and beans around here, and our last name is Acres. So then we decided Steve's Smoky Acres.
That's awesome.
So then when a wholesale customer comes in, we'll ask, do you want your name on it, or do you want our name? And most of the time, they're just saying, we want the Smoky Acres label because that's what's known, that's what's known here.
That's right.
So,
Well, that's awesome. Well, I keep thinking of Gospel Acre.
I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney